everybody. Welcome to the Philly Sports Convo. This is my podcast where I get to talk to the biggest names in Philly sports. This is episode number 4. Thank you for tuning in and watching and listening to the first 3 episodes. But, you know, when you talk about big names in Philly sports, they don't come much bigger than my guest today. He is one of the greatest Flyers ever, one of the most popular Flyers ever. He's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion, and I am proud to say he is a good friend. He is the great Bernie Perron. Bernie, good to see you, pal. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I could listen to you all night.
Well, you know, Bernie, the way you and I talk, you might be listening to me all night. You never know.
That's beautiful.
Hey, you know what? The first thing I want to ask you about, every time I talk to you, every time I see you, you always have a big smile on your face. You're always so positive. I don't think I've ever seen you angry. Where does the positivity come from?
Well, you know, it's been my attitude most of my life, but I believe in reading good books, to refresh my memory where I'm at and what I'm doing. And life is so much easier when you're happy, you're smiling, and that's when good things happen to you.
I love it.
It's a beautiful thing.
I love it. I wish more people had that attitude. I want to go back. I want to go back to your early days. There's so much to talk to you about. When did you realize that you had a talent for athletics, you had a talent for hockey, and when did you realize that maybe you could become a professional at it?
Well, we'll go pretty far back. When I was 13 years old, okay, I tried for this hockey team. I wanted to be a forward, or really a defenseman. And you had to go around the ice once, and depending on your speed, the coach would give you a position on the team. So my time came, and I got all excited. I got pumped, right? So I went around the ice, and most guys did theirs in 14, 15, said mine like in about 22, 24 seconds.
Okay.
So the coach looked at me and he said, "Goaltender." That's how I became a goalie. How about that?
Well, you know, it's funny how opportunities come along and stuff you don't expect to happen, but look, I mean, it changed your life. I want to ask you, talking about being a goaltender, do you think goaltending is the hardest position in all of sports? I mean, you could talk about, the quarterback of a football team, but you got frozen rubber coming at you at 100 miles an hour. I mean, how do you deal with that?
Well, you know what? You're looking at the game today, right? And you watch the goalies, and don't misunderstand me. What I'm going to say here, they're great goalies, but I'm not too crazy about the equipment they're wearing, especially the pads. The pads they're not that thick, but they're real stiff, and it won't allow them to move their feet sideways, so they drop to their knees all the time. So when you do this, you drop to your knees, and you're not in position to challenge your shooter. It makes it very difficult, And yet, they're playing great games. But I'm looking at the way we played. The game has changed. Let's put it this way: when I played and the way it's played now, it's completely different.
Talking about the equipment, I'm looking in the background there. I see you got the mask on the shelf. I see you've got the cover of Time magazine. How do we know that's really you on the cover of Time magazine, Bernie?
I'm sorry, I missed it.
How do we know that's really you on the cover of Time magazine? We just see the mask.
You just have to believe me.
There you go. That's right. So, okay, so your NHL career, you get drafted by Boston, but then you get drafted, you get taken by the Flyers in the expansion draft when the league expanded in '67. But prior to that, Philadelphia had no history of hockey. I mean, I don't think people here knew what a hockey puck was before the Flyers came along. You're coming to that situation. So what was that like for you, knowing you're coming to a brand new city that knew nothing about the sport you loved?
Well, you know what? I'm the type of person that it was a National Hockey League to begin with. And, you get excited. But I got to share a quick little story with you. I remember before the training camp, they put the whole team, all the players on the float. and take us on Broad Street, to introduce us to the city.
So this
right?
was this was before the Flyers debuted then.
Yeah,
Okay.
See, before training camp, okay, and we ended up with more people on the float than people watching, you know. So it was very very difficult in some ways at the beginning because I think we ended up with 3,000-4,000 people watching a game, and I'm a firm believer a big crowd, makes you perform a lot better. It was a little bit difficult, but you know what? We had great players, good coaching staff, and eventually the people came in, started to pay attention to the Flyers, and start getting enthused about the game, about the Flyers, and then we ended up with full house all the time.
And if I remember correctly, I mean, not only was it difficult in that first season, but didn't the roof blow off the Spectrum sometime? It was the first season, right? And you guys had to go on the road for a while.
Oh yeah. I still have a bump on my head from it. Yeah, not just kidding. There was a storm in it, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a long time ago. I believe we finished the season in Toronto, I believe.
Yeah, it was either Toronto or Montreal. I don't recall, but you would know better than me.
Yeah, I think it was Toronto. Yeah. So it was a heck of an experience, but we plowed through it, and then we had which I think we had the best. We still do. The best crowd in the world of hockey, and that's what what you learn as a kid is you don't win by yourself.
Yep.
Okay, in life in general, and in sports even so. You don't win by yourself. You win as a team. You have to be part of the team, play as a team, then you have a good chance to win. And in Philly, it became that way with the fans, because it went from 3 to 4,000 to on and on to 17,000, 007 or something.
Well,
that's when we had a full house.
I remember reading stories about your group back in the 70s that you guys used to hang out with fans after the games. Like you guys really, like you go to a local bar and you just hang out with the fans. That would never happen today.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, of course the game. The game has changed. Plus, when you're paying $2,000 a player. I'm just kidding now. But in the old days, it wasn't like the players making $1 million or $2 million a year.
Right.
But what I was saying earlier, it's important that as a player, you realize that if you, again, repeating myself a little bit, if you want to win, you have to play as a team. And you have to work, not just the team, it's a coaching staff and the crowd. When we won those 2 years, it was a full house, and you step on the ice, and the vibration that we got from the crowd cheering when we got on the ice, it elevates you to a different level.
Well,
beautiful.
I'll tell you what, not to be cliche, but the Spectrum, that place rocked. I mean, listen, the Wells Fargo Center is a beautiful building for the Flyers and the Sixers and the Wings and all the other stuff they have going on there. But man, I miss the Spectrum. Talk about, the crowd was great, but that was a great building, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was That was it became a family, not just a crowd, but a family, and they supported us, and Keith Allen, the GM at the time, brought the right players in, the right combination of players, and we had, of course, the greatest leader in the game, in those days, in
Bobby Clark,
just incredible. What a great individual. And the owner, Ed Snyder, who started the whole thing, and I see we have a place in Avalon, New Jersey, and we have Ed Snyder's picture, on the wall. And every time I walk by, I look at him and say, thank you. It's because of him that we became, we won 2 Stanley Cup.
Yeah, he started it all, and he had a knack for bringing in the right people. You mentioned Keith Allen, but you can go on and on through the years. All the GMs he brought in, some great coaches, Fred Shiro, Mike Keenan in the 80s. Just talk about him, not just as a person, but just how much he wanted to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He did, definitely. It was just the, what when you were in his presence, and it was just a great individual, and he would do anything for his players, and you felt like it was part of the team. The only thing he didn't skate, but you felt it was part of the team, and he's the one who brought the team together,
right?
With management, with the coach, with Fred Shero, and the people in the stand, and the people in Philadelphia, who are just incredible. What a great human being.
I want to get back to you. You mentioned Toronto. Now, you eventually went to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you ended up playing with your idol, which I know was huge for you. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, definitely. When I got traded from the Flyers to Toronto, I was disappointed. Yeah, and of course, and then we're driving to Toronto, wife and I, and my son Bernie, and we're driving to Toronto, and then once I got to the rink, I realized that, hey, my God, I'm going to share duties with Jacques Plante.
Right.
Which, by the way, in Montreal, as a kid, Jacques Plante's sister lived next door to us.
Okay.
So every summer he would come in, a big convertible, a cowboy hat on, big cigar, walk around, and I watch him from the kitchen window. I was scared. I didn't want to talk to him. Just incredible. There I was going to share duties with him in Toronto. And when I look back at those days with Plante in Toronto, I watch him play, and I watch him practice. And finally, I asked him, I said, can you help me? He said, of course. And he changed. I changed. I became a better goalie in the way that he helped me to understand the game better, how to communicate with your defenseman, if it's a left-hand shot or a right-hand shot in situations like that. Then it became different, different situation. And then I have to share this quickly with you. Mm-hmm. Then 2 years later, the World Hockey League came in. Okay. And there's a reason. I'll tell you why I'm sharing this. The World Hockey League came in, and I received a phone call from them if I would like to join them. I said, let me think about it.
Okay.
I called them back. I said, sure, because I knew it was a well-calculated risk. I knew what I had learned from Plante. If it didn't work out, then I'll come back. So it didn't work out. We only played in front of 400 people. Great people, but 400 people.
And you were on the Philadelphia team, right?
I came back, halfway through the season, when I came back, the National Hockey League, the rule was to go back to your original team,
right?
Which was Toronto. And I got traded from Toronto to the Flyers, and we won the next 2 years. We won the 2 Stanley Cup. So the reason I'm sharing this with you is because, many times people, you have to take risk, calculated risk, where you got to take risks in life if you want to move forward. As a prime example here.
So basically what you're saying is if you never went to the WHA and then had to be sent back to Toronto, you may not have ended up with the Flyers the second time to win the Cups, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So if you look at the whole picture, I was fortunate to take the risk, and it really worked out well. Yeah.
And you were with the Philadelphia team in the WHA, right? Was it the Blazers?
Yeah, the Blazers. Yeah.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, it was when I went to Florida to sign with the Screaming Eagles, that's what the team was supposed to be.
The Screaming Eagles. Okay.
when I flew back the same afternoon, I flew back to Philly. I found out that the the Screaming Eagles ended up in Philly. They made that change while I was on that plane going back to Philly.
So the Screaming Eagles became the Blazers? Is that what you're saying?
Pardon me?
So the Screaming Eagles became the Blazers? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They moved the team to Philly.
That's wow. That's funny. That's funny. Hey, here's a question, and you and I have talked a lot, and I don't think I've ever asked you this question. How did you ever come to start wearing number 1? Was that just given to you? Did that number mean something to you?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you too well. Go ahead.
Why did you start wearing number 1? Did that number mean something to you, or was it just randomly given to you?
Well, yeah, number 1 was Plant wore number 1 all the time. When he played. And,
okay, got it.
And number 1 meant so much to me. Not. I mean, don't misunderstand me. Being number 1 in the league or whatever, it has nothing to do with this. It had a lot to do with my idol, Jacques Blount. That's for sure.
I love it. I love it. There's another number 1 in Philly these days who's doing some big things. Jalen Hurts. I know you're a big Eagles fan. What do you think of what the Eagles are doing? I know by the time this airs, we're recording this right after the Buffalo game, just for a point of reference. But how about Jalen Hurts, huh?
Well, you know what? I like him. He's a team player to begin with. And you watch him on TV. Never had a chance to meet him, but I would like to. And good, you know what? He's a great leader on the field. And then he has a wonderful city that he's playing in. And then at the games, I think they have like 75,000 people or whatever. Just incredible. And he the way he plays, the way he takes his team, and he never gives up. They could have a couple of quarters they're not playing that well, but then he comes back and brings the team up, and I think they're going to win
win the Super Bowl,
the championship, Super Bowl. Yeah.
Well, let's hope you're right. They fell just short last year, so fingers crossed. I want to take you to the 80s. Okay, you are the Flyers goaltending instructor at this time, and there's a young goaltender. Was from Sweden, Pelle Lindbergh. He was from Sweden, right? And,
yeah.
And he had such immense talent, and he idolized you, which is why he wanted to play for the Flyers. And luck of the draw, he got to play for the Flyers. But we all remember that awful night. Was it '85 when he had the accident? Do me a favor, because I know he meant a lot to you. Just talk about what Pelle Lindbergh meant to you, and knowing what you meant to him. How did that make you feel?
Well, I love the kid. Like you said, the communication we have was just fantastic, and he was very receptive, and he had a lot of a goaltender with a lot of talent, and a smile on his face. Always very happy, and he was a darn good goalie. They would have won the Stanley Cup with him, and
I agree with you.
And when the accident happened, I have shared this. I was in the hospital next to him, holding his hand when he passed away.
Wow.
That will stay with me the rest of my life. And then we flew to Sweden for his funeral. And as a matter of fact, I think this year was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 50 years that it happened.
Is it? I thought it was mid-'80s.
50 years. Yeah.
38 years.
38 years, I think I heard Jeannie say. Much like my house, your wife's the voice of reason, right?
38 years ago.
Oh, 38 years. My wife just came and told me.
50 years you won the cup.
Yeah, 38
That's right.
years. 50 years when we won the cup.
50 years when you won the cup.
Yeah.
And if I recall, now he won the Vezina, didn't he? What? And you presented it to him, right?
Pardon me?
And you presented it to him, right? Didn't you?
I keep missing your question.
Didn't you present the Vezina Trophy to Pelly when he won it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's those are, those are moments that you never forget. And I'm so grateful for the good old Lord that what happened to me in different time, different season in my career, in my life. And beautiful things happen were just incredible. Awesome. Good kid, awesome. What a great individual.
Yeah. And I know your relationship with him was very, very special.
As a matter of fact, one time I was broke, I asked him for 20 and I got $25. So
there you go. Okay. You know what? I don't want this to end without me asking about I know one of your favorite hobbies, you love to fish. I know you're a big fisherman. You've got the boat down the shore.
Yeah.
What do you like most about fishing? Why do you love it so much?
Well, fishing, it's quite a few things. A boat, of course, it's important. And then you go out with some great friends because every time you go out, you have about 6, 7 people with you, on the boat. And then the beauty about the ocean, when we go out, you go out 75, 80 miles out. And I learned a long time ago from a good captain to read the weather properly, because when you go 80 miles out, it's a long way, Yeah. And but we had some beautiful, beautiful days, and the biggest fish we ever caught was a 900-pound blue marlin.
Wow. Okay? Yeah. So what was it like reeling that thing in? How many people did it take?
To bring the fish in?
Yeah, 900 pounds. That's huge.
Oh, yeah.
How'd you bring it in?
Well, here's the thing. A big fish like this, we fought him for a while, and then usually you release them unless you're in a tournament.
Got it.
And okay. In the tournament. So, you fight the fish, you have fun, and big fish would jump out of the water all the time, and what exciting moments, they were. Then we brought him back near the boat, and he passed out, he died on us, I guess, out of the jumping and the whole bit. So we brought the fish in. I had a block and tackle to bring the fish in because 900 pounds. It's a lot of weight.
That's a big fish.
And then we got back to Cape May, and we found out that the fish was I believe was 23 years old. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah. And 23, it's a lot of, a lot of weight. Those big, big fish. Yeah.
So I want to ask you this because I want people to understand what a smart man Bernie Parent is. All right. You've got a boat down the shore. Now, for the longest time, it was called the French Connection. But in the last few years, you changed the name. Can you explain why you changed the name of your boat?
You want to know why?
Yes, I want to know why. I know the story, but I want everybody else to hear it.
I just, it was important for me to stay alive, so it became the Italian-French Connection. Yeah, how's that? Yeah, I would say
because your wife's Italian.
Of course.
You are a smart man, Mr. Parent, a smart man. I also know you are a connoisseur of cigars. So I'm hoping. Can you give me? If I want to go out tomorrow. Actually, as we tape this, we're taping this on November 28th. November 29th is my father's 80th birthday. So by the time this runs, it'll be in the past. But if I want to go get my dad a good cigar for his birthday, what would you recommend?
Well, people ask, which is a great question, but the taste is different for each individual.
That's true.
I would say for your dad, just you go buy the cigar, just explain. How old is your dad? 80 years old?
By the time this runs, he will have been his 80th birthday.
So you want a mild cigar that your dad can enjoy. because sometimes you could buy a cigar so strong that you won't enjoy. So
Right.
I would suggest get a mild cigar, and they'll guide you that way.
And the bigger question is, when can I smoke a cigar with you? That's what I want to do. I want to smoke a cigar with Bernie Perron, and I will bring the cigars, by the way.
Well, you know what? During the summer, you know, during the winter, we have a place in Fort Lauderdale, and after Christmas, I spend 4 months down there. You know, and I love the warm weather. But during the summer, all you have to do is give me a call. You'll be welcome anytime.
I love it. I'm going to take you up on that. All right. Before we end this, I want to get this one story in because I love this story and I love hearing you tell this story. Let's go back to New Year's Eve Day 2011, the day before the 2012 Winter Classic at Citizens Bank Park, okay, which was on New Year's Day. And New Year's Eve Day, they had an alumni game. It was the Flyers and the New York Rangers. You know where I'm going with this, Bernie. Actually, before we get to the story, I want to ask you this. You started in goal, and I think you got the biggest ovation of anybody. And, you know, you're not used to, you know, crowds of 40+ thousand because you're used to playing in an arena, but Citizens Bank Park was sold out. What was that like when they introduce you, the great Lou Nolan introduces you in front of a huge baseball stadium and you get this loud ovation? What's that like?
No, that's you know what? That feeling is difficult to explain because it's so great, you know, so beautiful. And you know, I knew it was going to be my I'm very grateful, you know, that I was able to step on the ice and play. I believe I only played like 7 minutes. But I have to share the quick story with you. When near the end, the 6 minutes, I think.
This is a story I wanted to hear.
I'm looking at God, right? I have a shout out going and said, "Oh, thank you. Just a few more seconds."
Okay.
Then I look down on the ice again. Here comes Duguay on the breakaway.
Ron Duguay, right? Yep. Oh, that's right.
Then I look up again and said, "What are you doing to me, God?" Right? So he came down and he took a shot and he hit my chest. And I knew he did it on purpose, just the way the motion was. And that the crowd cheered, you know, the whole bit. And I hugged him after and I said, "Why'd you do this?" He said, "I think they would have shot me if I would have scored."
I love that story. Oh, listen, you know what?
It just ended a beautiful career. And I have to say, you know, I want to say that I'm so blessed to have played 12 years of my career in Philadelphia. Beautiful. Thank you, folks.
Bernie, you know what? And I know you appreciate the fans, but and I'll end with this. The fans appreciate you, and just from what I know of you, they appreciate you. Number one, because you always gave it your all on the ice. You always worked your ass off. I mean, if you had a bad game, it was not through lack of effort. You always gave it your all. And you've always been a nice, genuine guy. And I think that's why people, even 50 years after you won the cup, you are still beloved in this town, and you will always be beloved in this town.
Well, thanks. It cost me a lot of money, but they like me. Yeah. No, but, you know, I mean, kidding aside, I thank you for your wonderful words you just said. And I'm a firm believer in the universe, you know. As you know, the bottom line is, I'm going to share just a couple of little things with you here. Is you know, it's my philosophy. I do this every day. You look at universe and you say, you ask, believe, and receive. Okay, now, 3 things, and then 3 other things too are how, when, and where. It's none of my concern. Just ask what you want to do and keep asking, keep positive about it. And somehow the right people, the right situation will come and bingo, it will happen.
You know what? I've said this to you before. I mean, you should go into motivational speaking. I love the positivity. And actually, I want to mention to people that you put stuff like this out on social media all the time. So it's at Bernie Perrant on Facebook and on Twitter or X or whatever they're calling it these days, and at Bernie Perrant 1 on Instagram. A fantastic follow. Bernie, what can I say, man? The time always flies by when we talk, and I always love talking to you. I can't thank you enough for doing this today, Bernie. Thank you. It's always great to talk to you. And I am going to take you up on the cigar, and I'm going to take you up on going fishing on your boat because I want you to teach me how to fish.
There you go. You got it.
Oh, before we go.
You got it. And hey, and then the beauty about this, if we don't catch any fish, we stop someplace, we'll buy some, but we're coming home with fish. Yeah.
That's not how you got the 900-pound fish, is it? You didn't stop and buy it, did you?
Oh, God, you're the best.
Hey, listen, real quick, before I let you go, I always ask you this every time I talk to you on some kind of a program. And anybody listening to this and not watching this, you got to go to the YouTube channel so you can see it. But can I see the rings, please? Can you hold the rings up to the camera? Can you show us the rings? The Stanley Cup rings.
Oh, show the rings. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
There you go, folks.
There you go. See, that's what people play for. The man has 2 Stanley Cup rings.
75. And next year, think about this. We're going to have a big celebration in Philly because it's going to be the 50 years since we won the first cup. How about that?
Wow. And
50 years.
And I bet it went by in the blink of an eye, right, Bernie?
What's this?
I'll bet it went by in the blink of an eye, right?
Yeah, it's incredible, but so grateful that what life brought me, and it's difficult to explain. But when you believe, you receive, and when it's not of your concern, just ask for it. Remember, folks, just ask for it. Ask, believe, and receive. How, when, and where will be shown to you. It's not of your concern. That's a beautiful way to live, man.
Bernie, you're an amazing guy. I am thrilled and honored to call you a friend, and thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Look forward to that cigar, buddy. Yeah, have a good day.
You too.
Let's go Flyers.
Yep, go Flyers. Thank you, Bernie.
Take care. Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you for tuning in to episode 4 of the Philly Sports Convo. We'll see you next time. Stay connected with us on social media, join our Discord community, and grab merch from our shop. The Philly Sports Convo is a Blue Eye Visual production.